It was every family's nightmare. My wife and I had the day off work, and we had taken our son out for lunch and some family bonding time. But as we approached our home, something felt off. I had a growing sense of dread the closer we got. As our house came into view, I could see that front door was wide open. Someone had broken into our home. I told my family to wait outside in case the intruder was still inside. They obliged, and I slowly and silently made my way through our house. As I stepped into the living room, I saw broken furniture. Nothing in its correct place, just utter chaos. Was this person looking for something? Did they have malicious intent? Why our home? Why us? Next, I walked into our kitchen. The fridge had been emptied. Dishes and food were thrown all over the room. What kind of person had broken into our home? A homeless person who had just needed food? If so, why had they destroyed the living room? That's when I heard footsteps in the bedroom. The intruder was still in our house. I took a brief moment to be grateful that I had asked my wife and son to wait outside. It was impossible to decipher this person's motives so far, but I was about to come face to face with the person that forcefully entered our home, and I would demand answers. I crept towards the bedroom slowly. I approached the door, focused on the silver of the light slipping through the crack. I could see faint shadows dancing in the light. I raised my hand, placed it against the door, and took a deep breath, readying myself for whatever may be on the other side. I pushed the door open, and I stepped through the threshold with authority. I couldn't believe my eyes. I actually rubbed my hands over them, thinking I was imagining things. There, in my son's bed, was a young girl with curly blonde hair. She stared at me with wide eyes. She must have been terrified. I must have been a few feet taller, at least 100 pounds heavier than her. I must have been a sight to see for that little girl, but she should have considered that before breaking into my home. I called my wife and son to see what I found. Is that human, Papa? Why, yes it is, baby bear. That's dinner. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, a fairy tale as a child that I enjoyed so much listening to and admiring. It's one of those fairy tales that you don't forget, since there's also so many iterations of it in movies, animation, and who knows what else, etc, etc. So this story basically takes the premise of the three little bears and Goldilocks. Little, they're not fucking little, but it takes the fairy tale and twists it into a different point of view. Instead of being from the perspective of Goldilocks and going inside the house, eating the porridges and going to sleep, we're given the perspective of the fucking bears. And as we all know from that wonderful scene in the Leonardo DiCaprio movie with he was basically mauled by a fucking bear, bears are not generally nice people. And it's kind of funny that you're reading the story and you're thinking to yourself the whole time, this is basically how it feels to be in the skin of the people that get broken into. My house so far hasn't been broken into. We've had shit stolen, but breaking into the house is a different fucking topic. I'm hopeful it never actually happens, but I like the suspense that it's building up. You're the father, you're looking around, the kitchen's a mess, the living room's a mess, everywhere it's a mess, and then you hear footsteps upstairs, you creep inside, and you see a little freaking girl. And I like at the end that it's like the three bears basically gather around Goldilocks before they decide to maul her to death and chew her freaking bones off. Quite a lovely little, beautiful spectacle that would have been to see Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Little Bear basically just tore Goldilocks apart, limb by limb, and just eat her. Hey, would have served a fucking riot, for fuck's sake. She ate the porridge. She ate their food. She is automatically food. They are fucking bears. Bears are not fucking animals that you are gentle and kind with. They will rip you apart limb from limb. For fuck's sake, I remember in high school my teacher was telling me like bears are very very angry and hateful and all this shit. And I remember even listening to her retarded fucking thing about if you have cigarettes and you know, light a cigarette and they're afraid of fire or what. But all I remember is don't go in the fucking woods, act like a retard to attract wildlife so it doesn't tear you limb from limb. That was basically at the end. That's it. That's why I prefer colder fucking tropic. That's why I prefer colder places compared to tropical places. Colder places, I have to worry about polar bears and a few animals and predators, and at the end of the element of the cold itself, nothing else. In tropical places, alligators, predators, all sorts of fucking nastiness it never had to even think about during my day outside. Maybe that's why some of the reasons I don't go out in nature. I'm afraid that nature will fucking kill me. But then again, that's nature for you in a nutshell. It's beautiful and also very. I'm not a National Geographic or national any kind of like Discovery Channel kind of documentary shit. Like, it was just an interesting story that took a very different turn. I enjoyed it. I love the fairy tale. I'm thinking about even making videos related to fairy tales, as in reading the actual fairy tales on this channel, and I'm hoping that goes well. I'm enjoying the creepypastas, but fairy tales are something that I think most of us have heard growing up and understand to a certain extent. They're cautionary tales to give you life lessons, and I love them for that. I think that mostly is gonna be really much it for this story. Goldilocks and Three Bears, put in from the perspective of a home invasion that ends horribly for a little girl. For some reason I'm picturing Pamela Anderson in that bed. You know, a blonde bimbo with big tits just gets torn apart fucking Three Bears. That's mostly gonna be it for me, though, for real now. I am the Lone Sub Creep, amateur huntsman, zoologist. Hell, if I even know anymore. I hope you enjoyed the video, wherever you are. I hope you have a terrific day. That mostly will be it for me. Have a good one. Bye.